Hi everyone, today is Friday, September 11, and I wanted to say good good evening from the global economic north. Um, Today's video is, I'm not even sure what I'm gonna call this video, but I felt I needed to say something about this Miss Candace Owens person that I've been hearing about and seeing a lot of like stuff, especially in my YouTube feeds about this Candace Owens person. And I spend a lot of time in Canada. I pay attention to governance in Canada, and currently at the federal or the national level, the nationwide level, we have a political party that is in power called the Liberal Party of Canada. And for my viewers that are outside of Canada, they would be equivalent to, for example, the Democrats in the United States. So, we have a lot of problems in Canada. And so when I relocated from Western Canada to Central East Canada, I just had to get away from the very cold weather and always seeing this generic culture. And it just really used to get to me. So I just said, you know what, forget it, I'm gone. And I just packed up and moved to Central East Canada. And I tell you, it really is frustrating living in a place that is supposed to be the most diverse, racially diverse in Canada, but you have like so much like contention of like, you have clashing of the different cultures. Then you have like these, you're not only dealing with sort of the black-white dynamics, but you're dealing with now people of color dynamics. So you could have this person who looks like you who is worse than, for example, a black-white situation. So there's a lot of different things that I've been up against, and I found myself back in university, and I spent like, I think about 10 years or something, and I just said, you know what, let me just move on to something else. Like, I'm sick and tired of having to, always be sort of approached in a way to modify what I'm working on to satisfy the research of someone else. So to me, that's not what academia is about. And I'm starting to understand this stuff around academic freedom and free speech. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff about black conservatives in the United States, and if I was actually in the United States, I would be voting conservative. So I've been seeing a lot of this person, Miss Candace Owens, and I don't know what her message is really. I watched 3 videos and I said, you know what, that's enough. And I was watching this video, and you know what, I actually should have written the citation or cited the citation, but I will actually put it in the video explanation. But I was watching this video, and it was an interview with her by this black male who said he was Nigerian American, and I think his show is called The Roommates. And they were talking for an hour about different things related to the black community, like, family composition, the importance of a nuclear family, which I totally agree with, and, the problems with this, like, transgender movement and trying to sort of gender blur stuff. Like, I totally agree with her on that as well. But I was just kind of questioning some of her citations, and she made this comment to say that, you know sort of to generalize this academic discipline, which is also known as the studies about women. And it sounds like she really needs to just maybe pause and read some studies about women that are written from the perspective of USA black women in the university, or even women from India in the university. Like, they're not talking about tearing off your bra and, bashing males. They're talking about paying attention to this thing called colonization and how it's really hurt the family, how it's really hurt our communities, but also pay attention to economics. And while you have these, for example, white women in the academy talking about some stupid white lady crying in her room, like, for a person like me, that's not going to help me get employment. And quite frankly, I don't want to hear about some stupid white lady crying in a room. So she had some citations, and I was like, she sounds like she's on the right track, because if I was in the United States, I would definitely be voting Republican. But even her comment on that, she said she was a registered Republican, but she said that she would actually vote for a friend of hers who is Democrat. And to me, that told me right there that she has to actually review her ethics, because if you're in the public and you're trying to help a community, you actually want to come across as someone to believe. So I was just looking up some stuff, and I just got kind of annoyed, because she was talking about, like, how awful the black community was, and how there needs to be more males in the household. And it seemed like she was really, like, talking down to black single parents. Now, it was interesting to learn about some of the welfare schemes that happened in the United States, where they would provide more funding to single parent households. I just found that really interesting. I didn't know about that in the United States, and it probably happened here in Canada too. I just haven't gotten there yet. But we do have a problem in the black community. We have a problem with our family composition. And as a black woman, first of all, I identify as a black woman. I also vote conservative, and the version of conservatism that I support is the conservatism that was practiced by this person by the name of Honorable Ralph Klein, and he died in 2013. And I learned a lot from him, and he was also very good friends with my father, and ironically, they both died the same year. So there were some things that I saw, and I was a little bit younger growing up, I was a little bit younger learning from Honorable Ralph Klein, but he was a conservative. He was very concerned about the province, but he cared about people, and he would actually, at nighttime, he would walk around the streets at night, talk to people who were, kind of these vagrants on the streets. And he was always trying to get people involved in the process to even elect these people. So there was a lot that he was up against, and he was also up against, like, the different kinds of conservatives. but he was never this sort of ultra person that said, oh, get rid of welfare and, you know, cut all the social supports off and get rid of government. That kind of sounds like anarchy. Like you need some kind of medium to be able to maintain a civil society. So I was just looking up some stuff about Mr. Klein on the internet. Just for people who want to learn about him, like the first thing they're going to do is they're probably going to go to the internet just to see what's there. But the stuff that's written about him seems to be written by a lot of these dissidents that want to bash conservatives. So there's a lot of misinformation on the internet. So I might do something with that. I don't know yet. I have to think about some things, and I still have to sort of organize my 10 years of university stuff. Like, my notes are all handwritten, so I've got to transcribe them to digital form and archive them and whatnot. So there's some things that I have to work on. But this Miss Owens, like, you know, she was really critiquing heavily the black family, and I agree with her. You know, men have their roles, women have their roles, but there's a problem with this blurring of sort of these roles, because, you know, there's a synergy, and she used the analogy of yin and yang, and it's true. Like, men and women have this really beautiful thing that when they come together, black women and black men, when they come together, they can really work on some fantastic things and live a wonderful life. So we're missing that, and here in Canada I see the same thing. Like, you see these people and they just, like, now when I see a black face, I'm like, you know what, I can't just go up to that person and say hello. Like, I need to know, is this a house Negro? Is this a field Negro? Like, there's all these parameters that I have to look into now. So this Miss Candace Owens, I would actually recommend to her that she actually read this thing called Studies About Women, and maybe take some women's studies classes in university and try and understand what non-white feminists are actually saying. Like, I personally don't care for that word feminism, but, you know, it's like people are playing these politics and they use like these code words. So the body of knowledge, when you're talking about women's experiences, I would say it's called women's studies or studies about women. And this Miss Owens, like, she sounds like she needs to just explore that a little bit more, and maybe sometimes pause. And I'm not gonna criticize her and call her down, because she is on the right track, telling, you know, the community, or just not telling the community, but vocalizing how she votes Republican. But, you know, then again, I was just listening to her, and I was like, you know, this woman is pretty critical. And let me look how she actually walks her ethics. And sure enough, I looked her up, and her husband is this lily white thing. And I'm like, how do you actually talk about the black community like that, and criticize the black community, and criticize black males, and criticize black males, but you're clearly full of self-hate? And you know, the Republican the conservative background that I'm coming from, they weren't like that. They knew something about genetics, so they weren't doing all this, like, you know, diluting your genetics and walking around in this kumbaya culture crap, you know. But you could see stuff, like, some people were on top of things. So I'm not sure where this Miss Owens is going. I like her critique of, and I'm not mentioning these people's names because I'm not going to give them free advertising. And, you know, there's a black guy in the United States, and back in the day he was saying George Bush doesn't like black people, but he doesn't like black women either, because he ended up cohabitating with a non-black woman who was clearly somebody that had no morals and benefited from white privilege. So I don't know what he's really talking about, and apparently he's talking about some kind of Jesus Christ bull crap stuff. And when I think about the black community, like, we've been so demoralized and so pushed down by this thing called religion terrorism. So this Miss Owens, like, she identified herself as Christian. She was talking about how she loves to be, a wife and all this, but her husband is as white as the clouds. And to me, I can't believe somebody like that. Like, to me, you're just kind of spinning stuff. Like, you're actually making some of these very ignorant blacks, like that chick, I'm not mentioning her name because I'm not going to give her free advertising, but I saw a video footage of this black female, and she was pregnant, she was on a stage, she was talking some things into a microphone. I couldn't even understand what this person was saying. And then she was laying down on stage, she was opening up her legs, and she looked like she had some serious psychological problems and serious, like, decency and self-esteem problems. But yet, she's making a living looking like an idiot. And this Miss Owens needs to be just told that, you want to try and approach things in a way where you actually don't sound as ignorant as, for example, the person that she's providing this critique about. So I'm not sure about this Miss Owens. I can only say she's on the right track because she should be voting Republican, but her ethics are off. And if you really want to be somebody to take seriously, then, walk the black in your life. Go find a nice black male who you can get married to and actually show that you love the community. And that's the problem that I have with some of these so-called black people and these black whatever. Like, I forget his name. I can't remember his name right now, but he's always, talking. I think he's at Harvard, and excuse me, I can't remember his name, but he looks pretty good. I like the way he presents himself. But I was just reading some stuff about him, and he's always talking about, like, the need to empower blacks. But this guy actually went to Germany and had sex with this white woman and produced, like, this so-called love child. He produced this genetic thing. So I don't know how believable he is if he can talk black, but again, a black woman is not good enough to be with in your own personal life. And maybe it's a good thing I don't even mention his name because I don't want to give him free advertising. And that's what I'm starting to realize, is that when I hear some of these black folk talking, I have to say, let me look at their personal life. Are they actually walking this in their life? And we have the same thing too. We have some guy, they're just parading like he's on the auction block. They had him writing for a major newspaper in Toronto, and they had him being interviewed in the ignorant media, like, called CTV and CBC. The guy's unemployed, and he wrote a book. I don't know what he's doing. And then when I looked into his personal life, I said, this guy is not even with black women. He's with women who are not black. So who is he to talk about black this, black that, black needs to do this, and the system needs to understand this. Well, look in your personal life, guy. Like, you don't even have any respect for black women. So on that note, to this Miss Candace Owens, like, someone has to just tell her to pause and stop just rattling off these statistics, because I've heard some things that she said, and I'm like, does she even explore that sort of the philosophy behind these statistics? Like, you can configure statistics to justify anything. So I would be careful of sort of reducing everything to just a mathematical formula. And then second, when you're looking at trying to offer some kind of solution or resolution to reconstruct from intergenerational and generations of colonization residue being passed on from, one generation to the next. You need to actually look into your own ethics. So that's what I have to say about this Miss Owens. I watched 3 different videos, and I said, you know what, that's enough. I don't want to hear this person anymore. And if I was in the United States, I would definitely be voting Republican. And that is based on some research that I did on legislations that were passed, especially legislations that were passed to stop the expansion of slavery in the United States. It was the Democrats, or the Democrat political party, they were the ones that were passing the legislation to expand slavery, while the Republicans in the United States were the ones that were passing the counter legislation to stop slavery in the United States. So I did take my findings to a professor who was actually from the United States, and he said, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't understand why blacks vote Democrats. So, some people are on the right track, but this Miss Owens, I don't know. She's really coming across as sort of, I don't want to talk down to her, because, that's what some people want is, oh, there's this black conservative in Canada bashing a black Republican. That's not what I'm promoting, but, I guess my theme is ethics, and, if you're talking about something, just make sure you walk your talk. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for watching my video, and if you have any comments, please do leave your comments in the comment section, and when I have a chance, I'll definitely respond. So I'm a little bit behind. I've been responding to comments from 5 years ago, which is really bad, but I've just been working on some things. So thank you for watching my video, and have yourself a nice morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Bye.